Hi, my name is Matthew Young. I'm a second-year mechanical engineering student at the University of Alberta, and this is my presentation on the hot air balloon. In 1783, Joseph and Jacques Montgolfier successfully launched the first ever human passenger flight in a hot air balloon. This presentation is going to talk about the scientific principles behind the hot air balloon, the history of the hot air balloon, the Montgolfier brothers themselves, and the significance and impact that the hot air balloon invention has had on the world. There are two main scientific principles at work in a hot air balloon. The first is Archimedes' principle, which states that a body which is less dense than the fluid in which it is immersed will tend to float. The second is that due to the properties of gases, when they are heated and not restrained, they expand. There are three main components to the structure of any hot air balloon: the envelope, the burner, and the basket. The envelope is an inverted teardrop-shaped balloon, which is open at the bottom. In this opening, a burner source is located. This burner contains a flame that heats the air near the base of the envelope. This air rises and fills the balloon. Once the balloon is full, the air inside has less density than the air outside, and an upward force is exerted on the balloon, causing lift. Attached to the balloon and burner is a basket which holds the load. The earliest forms of hot air balloons were documented around 220 to 280 AD in China with Kongming lanterns. These paper lanterns, in the shape of a balloon with an open bottom, containing a flame source, usually a small candle, would rise when lit. Although these lanterns flew, their thin paper and small size meant they were never viable transportation vehicles, especially not for people. Until the 1700s, many flying machines were suggested and experimented with, but none were implemented with any success. That was until the Montgolfier brothers, Joseph and Jacques. Joseph was the first to experiment when he observed billows of smoke lifting clothing as it was dried by a fire. He wrongly concluded that smoke contained a special gas, later termed by the brothers as Montgolfier gas. They deemed that this gas was lighter than air and had levity. The brothers performed experiments where they constructed wooden and silk boxes and lit fires below them, each time the box is lifted. Following the success of the box experiments, the brothers went on to design and construct globe-shaped vessels that closely resemble today's hot air balloons. They were filled with smoke from fires from below and made of fabrics and papers. After much success, on September 19, 1783, in front of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, they successfully launched an 8-minute flight that reached heights of 500 meters and distances of 3 kilometers, with the passengers of a rooster, a duck, and a sheep. Then, on November 21, 1783, in the streets of Paris, France, the Montgolfier brothers launched the first successful human flight in history. Their globe, which measured over 20 meters tall and over 15 meters in diameter, had a volume of over 1,700 cubic meters. The passengers, Pilatre de Rosier and Marquis François d'Arlandes, flew for approximately 25 minutes, reaching heights of around 900 meters and spanning a ground distance of around 9 kilometers. The cultural impact of this flight was huge. Chairs with balloon backs were constructed. Mantel clocks replicating the balloons were everywhere. The invention of the hot air balloon and the first manned flight had significant impact. It was an inspiration for new designs and ideas, including Henry Cavendish's hydrogen-filled balloons. It was used in military, in the French Revolutionary Wars and the American Civil War, and it was used extensively for exploration and scientific understanding of effects of altitude and upper atmospheric conditions. It also inspired future innovation. Blimps, gas balloons, including the infamous Hindenburg, weather balloons, and solar air balloons, all utilize similar principles and designs as the original hot air balloons. Recently, gas-filled and hot air balloons have even been used for atmospheric exploration on other planets. In conclusion, the Montgolfier brothers, using basic scientific principles, invented the hot air balloon. It had a significant cultural impact at the time and had a strong and lasting effect on the future of aviation over 100 years before the Wright brothers and the invention of the airplane.